Another rainy day here. Pretty much all the snow and the roads and stuff are gone now. I know further north again, they've gotten all the snow. It's kind of funny how they're complaining over there saying, well, we're locked out here, you can't do anything. It goes to me like, hey, I can fly the drone and capturing the footage. It's kind of funny how different people have kind of, I guess, different approaches, I guess, to the weather. I guess depending on what kind of toys you have to play with, the weather can either be a blessing or a curse, right? I was able to finish a lot yesterday for the videos and stuff, so that's good. I'll probably start rendering a bunch of stuff tomorrow because, yeah, it just takes a long time to do all of that. Not as crazy as doing like Disney Pixar stuff, probably where it takes like what? Maybe 16 hours to render 1 second of footage, but gotta start basically. In terms of the news and stuff, I think people will be interested in this. I'm sure everyone's heard of this by now. The one about the Apple slowing down phones, where they said the reasoning was it was to protect things like the battery life, but to do that, they basically slowed down people's, you know, operating system, like when you're actually running the phone. So that basically got a lot of people mad. So I guess as a way to try to make the PR better again, they offered everyone with out-of-warranty phones and batteries a $50 replacement before. But it says here today, they basically reduced it to $35. I don't use an Apple phone personally, but it kind of makes me wonder how many people are going to take advantage of this. Just from reading things in the comments, it seems like everyone wants more. They want the company to suffer more financially for what they're doing. I guess that's what happens when you're such a giant leader in the industry, right? People expect more of you. For drone stuff, remember that Candy drone that crashed in Japan a while back? Apparently because of that, they were thinking of actually introducing new drone laws there, I guess in Japan, to make it a little harsher. It says here, the ministry is considering requiring drones to stay several meters to several dozen meters away from spectators, depending on the size of the event, how high the drone is flying, and other factors. Beep, beep, beep. It says here though, until new standards take effect, the ministry is calling on operators to take provisional measures, such as tying ropes to drones that are then tied to the ground or other places to make sure they can only fly within a certain range, and setting up nets or other items to prevent drones from colliding with spectators. Kind of brings up that topic again of, is that how it's going to be in the future with drones, like flying it in parks? You have to be tethered to the ground or something like that. I don't know if that actually does make it more safe, does it? Isn't there more odds it'll tangle up and stuff like that, they get less control? But like I said, mentioned here too, I think it should depend on things like the size and the operation. Like that one day with the dropping the Candy drone, that one looked huge compared to something like in the US where they said the CNN got the approval for that Vantage one. Like that should be okay in my opinion, like the smaller type of ones. And then the last crazy news I read, apparently there was someone playing a VR game and he had an accident in which basically caused him to die essentially. It says here, a 44-year-old Russian man died in a freak accident while playing a virtual reality game in his Moscow apartment. From what I gathered, I guess he was playing this, he was moving around, maybe he got too excited and he fell on a glass coffee table, and as a result, I guess because of that, he died. Some were saying he was actually still alive after that accident, so that's kind of where the gray area is right now in terms of the unclarity, in terms of exactly what caused the death. But if this was true, then apparently this would be the very first case of someone, quote, I guess dying playing a VR game. Then reading this made me wonder if this is an overreaction. Like it says here, if verified, the incident may not only mark the first VR-related death in the history of the industry, but also strengthen the possibility that video games are eventually included to the World Health Organization's International Classification of Disease, whose latest draft is already to define them as a possible addiction. I'm just thinking, well, I don't doubt things like video games can be addictive just like anything else in life. It makes me wonder, how does this freak accident relate to that in terms of saying, okay, it's very dangerous now? Isn't it just like a freak accident like anything else in life? I still remember all those crazy VR prank videos, like people pretending to push them down skydiving, they think it's real and they go all over the place. Or people falling in like the Microsoft store playing a game, like thinking they're climbing up, but then they miss grab because they think it's real. I don't know, to me it just seems like an overblown topic in many ways, in that sense. I mean, have things to help people, but using that as a way to say this and this, I don't know, seems overboard, just like with people that are freaking out things like drones. Okay, let's test this with some snow and all that, since it'll be a little bit in the ground. Right there, it's really obvious as the snow. It's kind of cool, isn't it? So maybe it is about having things around it in terms of the temperature that's higher, otherwise it can't detect anything. I guess that makes sense for people that are using it for things like work, if you wanted to find things like a leakage and all that, to see what's the hottest point. What's an interesting test? Okay, let me test out some new stuff with the videos and stuff like that too. Alright, see you guys later.